Good morning, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Today, I am recording my final installment of my What I Eat in a Day series for cycle syncing, or at least my first series. Potentially, I'll do this again at some point this year, next year, what have you, just so that you have different ideas for each day of the cycle, seeing as all the different phases last more than a day apiece. But this is the fourth phase in the cycle. This is the luteal phase that I'm recording today. And the luteal phase is the longest phase of the cycle. It's the one that comes between ovulation and menstruation. So in your ovulation phase, your energy levels were the highest, your hormone levels were the highest, and basically your body and brain were devoted to baby making mode. Menstruation, which is the time in your cycle where you actually bleed, is the time where your hormone levels are at their absolute lowest, and as you can imagine, your energy levels as well. Now, there's not just a sharp decline between point A and point B. The luteal phase lasts about 2 weeks, and that's the time where you're going from A to B in a very, very slow fashion. Hormonally speaking, what's happening in your body during the luteal phase is that your estrogen and your progesterone especially are kind of ramping up between the ovulation phase and about halfway through the luteal phase. Because if it turns out that during ovulation you successfully conceived, then the progesterone in your body kind of lets your brain know, hey, there's a pregnancy here. We've got to keep the uterine lining intact so that it has a chance to implant and grow, produce a placenta, voila, etc., pregnancy, right? But at about halfway through that luteal cycle, the progesterone is at its highest, it's at its peak, and your body will determine, yes, there is a viable pregnant egg here. Let's do this thing, we're pregnant. Or it will determine, okay, implantation is not going to happen because either there was a pregnancy, but the egg is not like the situation, the zygote, if you will. I think it's too early to call it a zygote. The blastocyst is not going to be genetically compatible here. Like, it's not going to go anywhere. Or there wasn't actually any joining of egg and sperm. Whatever the case may be, a pregnancy is not going to happen. So if that's determined halfway through the luteal phase, your progesterone will sharply drop, and that's going to send a signal to your brain, hey, we got to evacuate this whole situation, the uterine lining, etc., and that's what triggers eventually you menstruating. There's a lot going on in your body, so you're going to be kind of tired in these coming couple of weeks, and which sets you up for menstruation where you're at your most tired. But also because there's so much going on, your metabolism is a little bit higher. So you're going to be burning more calories during this phase than you do at any other point of the month. And also, this is a time where you're likelier to have cravings. The sorts of cravings you typically associate like with PMS, they're there for a scientific reason. You're wanting more sugar, you're wanting more carbs, you're wanting more cozy foods, and you're wanting more calories in general. So all of those things together, it's easy to just boil them down to, oh, I'm having PMS cravings, but it's all a function of your biology. So for this phase, I'm looking for high fiber foods, satiating foods, sweet potatoes, beans, carrots. Beta carotene, by the way, like you find in carrots and sweet potatoes, are great for helping to create that progesterone, but also like even out levels of progesterone so you never have too much if you don't need it, etc. So that's a place that I like to focus during this phase. I also personally like to eat high protein because it's what makes me feel best. So I aim for about at least 100 grams of protein a day, as I've done in all of my other videos thus far in this series. That being said, in this video, like all the others, I'm going to be showing you the meals that I'm eating today, but I'm also going to be giving you a breakdown of their calories, fat, fiber, protein, and carbs. I do this so that the more information you have, the more helpful it might be to you in case you're also wanting to eat higher protein, or maybe you're wanting to eat lower carb, or whatever the case may be. If it's information you don't need, feel free to leave it. If it's information that might potentially be triggering for you, I'm letting you know that now at the beginning of the video so that you can go ahead and click away. No harm, no foul. And as always, the caveat, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert, this is just what I do and what works for me. If nothing else, I hope that this video will provide you with, again, information so that you can consider for yourself, is this something I want to do? Maybe I should look into it more, maybe I should talk to my own doctor about it, but this is not medical advice, so do not take it as such. Now, I woke up hungry today, and the meal I have planned for breakfast might take a minute. I usually prepare it in the oven. I like to chop up sweet potatoes and chicken apple sausage because the flavors go really well together. And I season it up with garlic, salt, pepper, dill. Throw it in the oven at like 400 degrees for like 45 minutes to an hour. And then I make that like the base of my plate and I put a couple of fried eggs on top. But like I said, I'm hungry and I don't feel like waiting all that long, so I think I'm gonna experiment today and I might try to make my sweet potato hash, as it were, in the air fryer. So I guess let's go to that because I'm hungry. Good morning, baby lizard. As of right now where I'm recording this, baby lizard still doesn't have a name. It's been living with us for, I think, 4 days now, and we're still waiting to see if he or she does anything particularly cool that we might base its name on. We have a couple names that we're considering, but we want to give it a chance to let its personality shine. And of course, a big good morning to our original baby Mushu. Hello, Mushu. How you doing? Gonna make you guys some salad in a little bit as soon as I get my breakfast going. So here's my software for breakfast. That giant sweet potato is 23 ounces. So I'm thinking by weight, maybe like a quarter of the sweet potato is a good serving, which works out because I have 4 sausages. So I'm going to chop up the entire sweet potato and I'm going to chop up all 4 sausages, put it all over this tray, and I'm going to air fry it at 400 for, the internet says 10 to 12 minutes, but I'm thinking I'm probably going to do more like 15 because I like my sweet potato extra crunchy. I might even have to do this in batches because I don't know if all of it's all going to fit at once on this tray. So we'll see how that all works out. But once I've got my sweet potato and my chicken sausage seasoned and roasted up, I'm going to fry up these 2 eggies and throw it on top and have it with my coffee. I will not be peeling my sweet potato, A, because I'm lazy, and B, because extra fiber. So if you want to peel yours, by all means, but I'm just going to cut the ends off and go from there. So the air fryer is doing its thing in the background and kiddo has got some delirious giggles going on. But I'm gonna go ahead and prepare my coffee while I'm waiting for everything to cook up. So I've got my pitcher here of my decaf cold brew and I've got just enough for today. I do a pint a day of decaf and that's it. So now later on today I'll refill this carafe so that it's ready for tomorrow. I'm gonna throw my nut pods in here. I have original today. I've been going back and forth between the original flavor and the toasted marshmallow as it's available. And lastly, you guys know that every month I've been showing you a different syrup that I've been experimenting with for flavor in my coffee. Wait till you see what I've got going on this month. I have an entire tray of different syrups. This one's already on its last leg, as you can see. This is, I think, the one that I started out with. But we've got brown sugar cinnamon. We've got blueberry. If you're not putting blueberry in your coffee, you're missing out. Before I went decaf years ago, my favorite coffee was from a brand called Green Mountain Company or Green Mountain Co., I think. And they used to have K-cups that were wild blueberry flavor, and that was the most delicious coffee. Unfortunately for decaf, it's really hard to find flavored decaffeinated coffee, and that's why I've entered my my syrup era. But yeah, blueberry, especially with some white chocolate mixed in, amazing. That might be what I do today. So we've got blueberry, white chocolate, raspberry. Raspberry in coffee is amazing. We've got some vanilla. This one back here is toasted marshmallow. This one is coconut. I have coconut and I have cherry. I've not yet put coconut or cherry in my coffee, although my parents have an espresso machine, and one of the options with that is a coconut coffee. I think it's for iced coffee, but they have a coconut coffee pod, and that's delicious. So I'm thinking that coconut in coffee is probably really good. But the coconut and cherry I actually have to mix into my 7-Up Zero. And that is good. That's a really nice, the coconut tastes almost like an ocean water from Sonic. If you've ever had that, that's my favorite. Like anytime I've ever gone to Sonic, I always get an ocean water. It's my favorite thing to drink there. This is the exact same thing except without the blue dye. And the cherry's good in Coke, it's good in Dr. Pepper, it's good in Sprite, it's just good to have around. But for my coffee, raspberry's amazing, toasted marshmallow you already know, white chocolate is good on its own or to mix with something else, which I usually mix the blueberry with. Vanilla is a staple, you've got to have vanilla. And the brown sugar cinnamon, as you can see, we very much enjoyed. So that's my little coffee situation right now. And I think for today we are in fact going to do 1 pump of blueberry and, whoa, 1 pump of the white chocolate. And a little bit of monk fruit for extra sweetness. And that is that, folks. So when my sweet potatoes are a little closer to done, I'll start on the eggs. And I'm making kiddos breakfast in the meantime. I was trying to catch a meeting and he ate them all in the time it took me to plate up my breakfast. And speaking of, here in fact is my breakfast. So along with the coffee, this is 634 calories, 27 grams of protein, 48 grams of carbs, 4 grams of fiber, and 35 grams of fat. Not a bad start to the day at all. It's almost lunchtime, so I'm going to start preparing lunch, but then also lunch for like subsequent days. I wasn't planning on doing that, and I also wasn't planning on having so many leftovers from breakfast, but it looks like the cooking I'm doing today is going to serve me well in the days to come, and I'm not mad about that. I'm actually going to be making frijoles colorado, which I've made on the channel before, so if you want to see the recipe, I'm going to post it in the corner and I'll have it linked in the description box below. And I realized yesterday or the day before that I actually used this same meal, the same recipe in the menstrual phase video, which again I'll have linked up here at some point, or it'll be in the description box for sure. And I thought for a minute, should I change gears? Should I make something else? Because I don't necessarily want to repeat recipes. But then I thought, no, I won't. I'm not going to do that for multiple reasons. One of which, I feel like eating this, so I'm going to eat it. Secondly, I already had the ingredients, so why scramble and try to make something else for the sake of content? And thirdly, this just goes to show how versatile this recipe is as far as cycle syncing, because it's appropriate for the luteal phase and it's appropriate for the menstrual phase. It does make leftovers. So let's say you're making this at the tail end of your luteal phase, perhaps, like I am. The leftovers could carry me into my menstrual phase when I might not feel like cooking. Not to say I feel like cooking today, but the point is that it's a good recipe to have on hand these days, right, as far as during this phase. And so I decided I'm going to go ahead and move forward with it all the same. And the fact that the recipe's already up on the channel is a bonus for you guys, because you can make it yourself as well. And by the way, this recipe, so a quarter of what I'm about to make, a quarter of the pot of soup, is 407 calories, 23 grams of protein, 54 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fiber, and 4 grams of fat. So we're getting the protein from the ham and from the beans, we're getting fiber from the beans, from the potatoes, from the squash. There's a lot of really nice flavor in here. It's a hearty dish that's really, really easy to make, and like I said, leftovers. So all good things all around. I'm gonna start cooking. While lunch is going, I want to go ahead and tell you about dinner. Because once Daddy gets home, the house gets a little bit chaotic, so this is probably the calmest time I'm gonna have in the rest of the evening to talk to the camera. So for dinner tonight, I was gonna have some chicken breast and some cucumber that I was probably just gonna put like some lemon juice and salt and pepper on, and one of these brown and wild rice cups, which I'm loving, by the way. This is the only way, like, I never really learned how to make proper brown rice. It always comes out either undercooked and like crunchy or way too gummy. So even though I don't love the idea of cooking in plastic, having these little like 1 serving containers of rice around has been really, really useful. So I was gonna do that, but then I realized that the Instacart shopper brought me hummus by mistake. I didn't order this, and there's a recipe, I mean, I don't know if you could even call it that, a technique, I guess, of cooking chicken that I haven't done in a while, and I've always used the Sabra brand red pepper hummus. There goes the AC because, of course, chaos. But basically what I do is that I season the chicken normally. It's always chicken breast what I've done it on, and because chicken breast is not my favorite, so I have to find ways to make it exciting for me. So season your chicken breast and then just kind of smear the hummus on top. Especially, you can do all sides if you want to give it more flavor, but the hummus on the top, on the surface of the chicken, is going to kind of brown up and crunch up and give an incredible flavor to the chicken, and also keep it really, really moist. Like I said, I haven't done it in a while, and I have also never used this brand. This appears to be just like standard unflavored hummus. So my mileage may vary, but that's what I'm going to do for dinner today. So I'm going to bake my chicken breast. I'm thinking probably 1 breast is going to be plenty, with my hummus on top, my wild rice, and my cucumber. And that meal is going to be 629 calories with 59 grams of protein, 54 grams of carbs, 7 grams of fiber, and 18 grams of fat. And you know what? Because I'm feeling like a treat tonight, and this is a great phase to give in to those cravings, I'm gonna go ahead and have a chocolate pudding as well. My husband got me these actually. They're almond milk based chocolate puddings, and they're very, very tasty. So that's gonna add 140 calories to my day, 27 grams of carbs, 1 gram of fiber, 2.5 grams of fat, and 4 grams of protein. And so that's going to bring my grand total for the day to 1,810 calories, 113 grams of protein, so over my 100 gram goal, 183 grams of carbs, 22 grams of fiber, fantastic, and 59.5 grams of fat. I wasn't aiming for a low fat day, and that's pretty low fat for me. I'm not saying that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a matter of fact that that's how many fat grams I will be consuming throughout the day. But I guess if you're somebody that's aiming for lower fat, then this might be a good day of eating for you to follow. So I'm gonna make lunch, I'm gonna have lunch. Later on tonight, I will prepare dinner, eat dinner, have my dessert. I might have my dessert now, I might have it later, but just know that at some point today I'm having a chocolate pudding. And then later on tonight, as usual, I'm gonna do my workout. For the luteal phase, I tend to gravitate towards things that are still a little bit active, but also not super high impact or super intense. So for today specifically, I'm thinking I might warm up, if you will, with a half-hour walk on the treadmill, and then I'm going to cool it down and stretch it out with about 15-20 minutes of yoga. But that'll be later on tonight. For now, I still got lunch to think about. Alright, Pallies, I'm freshly off my workout, so I'm a little bit, there's a situation going on here, but I wanted to wrap up this episode, as it were, of what I eat in a day. I actually could not finish my dinner. It was too much food, so I guess technically all of my macros, etc., are a little lower than I originally reported, but not by much, and I'm not stressing it either way. I'm sure I hit my protein goal, and that's what's important to me, so that was that. The workout was great. I walk pretty much every day. Typically 45 minutes, or if I'm doing a walk plus something else, I'll do 30 minutes walking and then whatever the other thing is, 15, 20, 30 minutes of that. So I did my 30-minute walk, and then I was aiming for 15 minutes of yoga. I ended up doing like 18 and a half because that's how long the video was. But I've not been doing a lot of yoga lately, and I expected to struggle. And not only did I not struggle, which, yay me, my conditioning is holding, but it was also really, really nice. Like, I've missed yoga. I have to get better about like making sure to integrate it into my regular regimen, I guess, because these days like I said, I walk every day, if not certainly most days, and when I want to work out like and enjoy it, I've been doing fitness martial routines, which I mentioned in the last what I eat in a day in my ovulation video. I'll post that up here in case I haven't yet. But that's typically what I'm gravitating towards on days that I really, really want to exercise. And on days that I'm really not super feeling it, I walk because it's easy, doesn't require neurons, etc. So my strength training and my yoga have both, neglected is a strong word, but let's say I've been not doing them as frequently as I originally set out to do. So I want to try to focus on that more in the coming weeks. So otherwise though, really good day. All my meals were fantastic. They were obviously very filling, and I've got plenty of leftovers for the next couple days, which is a nice bonus. My workout was wonderful. I'm feeling good, and I'm hoping that we're all able to get good rest tonight because kiddo woke up super early this morning. So hopefully that means he'll go to bed super early, and that translates into sleep for everyone. We'll see. But that concludes this first set, I guess, of videos for what I eat in each phase of my cycle. So if you've enjoyed this series, I hope that you'll let me know in the comments so that maybe I do it again at some point, or if there's something in particular regarding cycle syncing, PCOS, trying to conceive, holistic living, etc. that you want to see from me, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. But as always, I want to thank you all so much for being here and watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you would subscribe and click the notification bell because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye!